This is called Prologue to the Imminent Vex. Impatient that we let the damned and wretched wave new circuitry, all wasted, driven on ends, siding with the imminent vex, in trabecular songs approximating stuttered oceanics, unremitting wakes from fleshing the contact of sound unmade coming already met, finally conscripting around its involution of new phase transitions when might just feel like finding other ways of lurks. Shops opening shutters onto seasides we couldn't discern with our hands, and a strip of air whips from essential to essential, right down to this essence of evasion with the same interminable sky we love this something that we are at all, stricken daylighting cycles and collections. The night holds philharmonics we forget with the promise of a sea without terminus, far out from the familial subsumations of an uncheckable key it surfaced until years later. Farmyard overflows an expanse of planetary mains, feels like coruscating an accents we wear outside of ourselves for the life on track. Listen instead for the elated skip, boldened, elastic, to 7 blacks killed in a septet, and more caught slipping in and out sing, but here, we're the ones that need help living how to see our missions hum hell a lot colder and purely unrepeated. Our residues brush any material, marauding a failed subjectivity lest the dead and dying smoke a personal orbit they pretend to dip, outlast your tug set, overlay a more tabernacular beam, but still give for you and your friends bitter and twilights. You're the black night, doused levity, fish of an indigo rasa, staring blank aboriginal saltback, still clapping the same broad sways of high wind rush outside our lanes and streets, for one of the people's cracked anathemic songs saying, true say we run upon how we sounded lyric for lyric like you think, is that what you think? Stepping your way out of this poetry for what was left unsaid of your sense of touch through feeling these sensations, I can feel your tears in our gilded fabric like granular scansions dressed audible to remission. As lies sentimental house and harbour for the imminent vex, but must not, nobody knows. Crypt in resoundingness echo of a black kid spitting an aerial pleonasm, makes in us an organizing principle of our ruinous flooring teeth, skin, lip, nail, eyelid, breath and phosphorus, more spit without making duppy, and instead, when I don't know you, but you must know who I am, syncopated plumes and shattered. In blockades there's echo in compress, corners on corners lyric vex on long sequesters, black givenness taking us up in the clouds, liminal looks, ancestors enfleshed. You can't see their flections glare of sunlight rim, they are too alloyed and all day artfully black boreal. Black light visioning the same splitting of black action going to this place called nowhere fast, and it's got to work. Ions and rhythms of work setting pace around the bits, of anamorphological rhythms of work setting pace around the bits of grim shard ice. Shadows barely viewed, crossing blocked off lays, cresting a pure state Lexus behind the curb. Offshot and unprotected, still built to task, yet nobody made us. Just roll back abiding, script a deadweight ride, speaking an aporectic crowd in a burst out daydream on a rhododendron. Can't then CCTV a slice of black world sheet, the way we lay of the land under streetlight mystic arc. This poem is called Carousel, Redshift, and it has 2 epigraphs. My ear against the ground, I heard tomorrow pass. Aimé Césaire. Aimé, I surmised that the landscape was not a sum in itself, but the interactive plenum between breathing. Will Alexander. Look into redshift beaming us walk, rolling, still stretched out, still smoothing the image of where we cut black voicing, eliding all edging out velvet reach, and flecting redshift's porous departures. Implacable fibrous rift, rioting horrific scree without when it sunsets. Natural needing natural, say if real, recognize real. Bird song the skyline, raised intonal and alloyed, freeing from the straining steel, your closely unheard jubilees. Every cityscape jump beat, your unrecursive collision, again eye enfolding cold erations, witness of what we say about collapse and hiding in sink, washed us over. We could opal beam the end of the night, lose the clamour our friends generate, slip a lack of passage together. This meeting of our earliest moments singing softly to me. Nothing safer than these moments drifting aerial traces of farmyard encased in windsweep. Cadences talking to you is talking through you without losing you, feeling our cold air distilling a slow duppy's shroud in neon high street octaves, remaining war-caught in moonlight fray and parting behind who we are, that we appear iridescent when we look at the same clouds at night. Like jet stream is how we redshift at a distance, like large pearlescence. We had a foothold in this touch of a sweet ethereal essence at the same time, earth no longer splitting the odorless emission from given exsensual after we spoke of us. Yet our shining crests, the blackest runaways, screaming warped, more and more how I want to feel already alive with the clasp of the slip of some of your other long connected ruin, still retaliating kicked across maximum barring. Everywhere redshift pleading hints, curved and curving the timeline, carouseling where we missed above, seeing us down, resounding some mucky phono-optic blue murder, we could go on into old night. Back and you back before none of us still could step to the pier's edge, preeing what looks lovely, but it's our futurition here, ruggish, blank believing, tenoring our absence of truly unaccustomed redshifting under dark deck of dubplate. Sliced ice up a nerve inspirits the wrist, because inexpressibly full with what words can do to time. Hearing the immaculate weave from redshift, nothing like redshift beaming us, spinning us black, circumgathering a mantra, high rings clearing indirect tense across cordless. Shades of its gleam elate on a schooner replete on the verge, hiding a bleached negative, back ahead to pure words you come down on. No names to show us hearing decantations, pouring airs, lapping tinctures. We look out from small shrills, I imagine us laughing, all our angles turning over the midnight sighs. Break maroon flesh like air, your profile locked, bruising real together, cold palms that can't grip, clasps clean and airtight, glossed lowly, evincing nothing coming over us. Wind-blown dying starlight heights, down to the gleanest block tip, edged to crack the ways our staring lesions black bodies like slapped hardened but dull integuments. Ancestral smoke-filled room, climbing blunt park rigs, grades dark as any day we walked home, passing as a mystic forest stowed away and legged out heartache for makeshift studio shawns. Faux ice to set the bits of redshift pressing down on us in a real run in plain dark sight, black lit scrolling, risen like piercing together unreal mind rent. Pulse, but it's concrete, noxious, preeming. Fraying for the dead out friends, back to the cleanest carousel. High floor raids on our laced hems in duffel form. Cold gold metallic night to touch, from when we used to prang a 16 bar in a red, when it was heard black serve speaking a warm compress in 3s and 2s with no insides. not anymore looking at anything we leave behind, but ever-pervading parallax, oceanic inner sounding like ocean praise itself. Leave for jungle reamer, lording esky, looking for crisp, searing te through the coldest airs we speak between recollections, only to come back to your breeze past me. Trance resonant stare on speakerphone, back along sheaths that plain laid cast mystic wisp inside us on Friendly Street. For 9-hour-long whereabouts unknown, left alluvial, scattershot, like sea bream glaring unseeable waves of garms that we redshift under our breath at the doors of the dance, rep-minded, lacy, suffering terror earth, sagaciously being purely obsidian trace, inseparable teeth, chain and ring, lyrically shots our change, money, exchange, money. Pass storming gloss-tet chord in the throat, wet release and charge of tone light. A small copse on the fly conjectures wild flays of mist elegiac or soft innocuous tug on Coptic nerve. Birch trees shining a forest staccato fading above songbirds, daylighting, fleshed out, no ancestral pauses. If you think I'm real, I take my timing to your big, dead, echoless even zeal. You, we, shadowing secret police, moving, seeing us dying, taking for dissipated rich gestation of stones, spinning us black, angulating out from small rows, the edges showing nothing restored. Setback or dematerialization, Coptic sense of air enfleshed, ghostly crowned apogees, mystic heartbreak, redshift repetition that distance swept and flipped what we didn't tell. This is the last poem. It's called Still Dark Wash Gushed Us, Spinning Us Black. Ethereal dreaming that we crossed, short-circuiting all cadences of the heartbeat, no change to the words untimely bussing, that we hear us from all ends of the visceral clamour in single myriads, unseen from when we made realness forever return, burst baseness of verse, to link us outside without running on the pull-up in the darkness, leading deep enough to get us lost in remaining in whole arrays of sun, carrying inside us each celestial movement without change, making us see change, all along remembering our share of coalescence. What are we to look at, and how saying it won't figure a line of flight, jade or fluidity upon air we dress in glints of sunset? Eyes touch, waters humming mid-drift out of focus, rotates its pulsations, so much history just settled there as an arc-leveling suite of denuded sea greens into fuchsia pink F majors, breaking live notes and looks away like snuff. Evidence of things not seen as black, blue, vermilion. Deck of flesh over dusk in its already dawning. Dust kicked up dawning, with only tertiary gleams to signal dying seen woven into the impossible, seen stirring our sophonophores. Diasporic at the same time seeing us in our lofty originary leave, roving where we are all the way to this thing dispersed. Round here we got our place in the sun, saying even then what happens to our straining to feel. Leaning, seeing wind between the oppressed, times gone spurious around sameness of exhaustion, conjectures of detritus that we breathed from their dry falls and ashen finesse. We hosts of their memories high water, mineral echoes of grief, can't help but fall in and out the dark wash together. Held up jettison away from self-snaring, couldn't get away whispering ultramarine, knowing full capture in escape. No more sacred in the small outside, that no one else heard the system in the stoma. None listened in for love, but for apotheosis. Rerobe the blank indeterminate main. Fleet of foot through stone your marsh meadowwood, unlike day star, ritual, still life, the fuck the police. A black body is sacred everywhere, leaving no clues. Unlike day star, ritual, still life, the fuck the police. A dead black body is sacred everywhere, leaving no clues. Raised, interlacing sheets of sleet ice in the iris under a deep rift. Thanks.